She seems pretty good. Maybe a little bit of tension up here in the top of the neck on the top line area or the crest area. She's got a little bit of tension. Pecs feel nice and soft. Shoulders feel pretty good. Run my hands down the legs here. Oh, I know. I'm not getting your girth. Ooh. A little sensitive in her girth area on that side. Ooh, good girl. Nothing down the leg. Don't feel any hot spots in the top of her back. Everything's nice and pretty cool to the touch. A little sensitive in the heart girth. She doesn't like that area, and she does have a little bit of a bump there, like a muscle knot in this area. There we go. Good. Under the belly. We're going to check the hips. She's got this one kind of resting, which would be consistent because the right side had been her side that we were having issues with. Hamstrings are pretty loose, but again, she's resting them, so I'm going to ask her to kind of step sideways. Good girl. Good girl. So she stands up a little bit, trying to feel the hamstrings. Hamstrings don't feel too bad. They're a little tight. And adductors are a little bit tight, but she does like to kind of tightrope walk a little bit. So when she steps up, when she's trotting even, she'll bring her foot towards her center line. Good girl. All right, we're gonna check the other side. Really quickly, I'm gonna check her range of motion back here. Can I see this one? Let's see if she'll let me bring it up. Yeah, so she's got a fairly good range of motion. Ooh, much easier to send it in. Obviously, horses don't have a lot of lateral motion in their hips coming to the outside, but very easy to move forward and in towards the midline of the body. I'm gonna go back up to the front here on this side, see if I feel anything. Again, same tension on this side right here in the top line. Does not surprise me because she's working a little bit more on the contact and trying to take the contact, so those muscles are developing. Hi, honey. Maybe a little bit of tension in the pole. Good girl. Pecs on this side feel nice and loose. Again, running down her back. I don't feel anything abnormal on this side. So far everything has been pretty uniform left to right. Not feeling anything different on one side than I am on the other. The biggest thing is she's not as touchy on the girth on this side, the heart girth area, although she's still not super thrilled with it. She's not as touchy. Up and over the hips. Good girl. No, I don't want you to rest that side either. Can you stand up? I know you're tired. Good girl. Hamstrings don't feel too bad. Adductors are pretty consistent with the other side. Ooh, no, are you gonna give it to me? All right, we'll check range of motion this way. Okay, so This side, she doesn't have nearly the ease of movement. I like really have to guide her. She can stretch that far, but there's a lot more resistance in my hands stretching over here than there is stretching on the other side. Lateral or medially, not too bad. Laterally, even less motion on this side. So my guess is where we're having our issues in this left hip somewhere. She doesn't have the flexibility on this side that she does on the other side. Can you stand up, please? Good girl. So I'm going to check with the points of the hips here. So I'm right on the point of the hip, and I'm going to try and run my hands straight up. She's just ever so slightly shifted. This one's slightly further forward than the right. So let me see if I can get her even more square. Good girl. They look pretty even. Easy. Yeah, so this one's slightly further forward than the right one is. So I would say, you know, checking, see if we can get her to do some pelvic tucks here. Good girl. Ooh. And I didn't really have to warm her up too much because you already rode her, so her muscles were pretty warm. So I'm going to say probably some range of motion on this side would be helpful for her. Because I don't really feel any more tension on the right than I do the left, but her range of motion is not as good on this side. So she kind of hits a hard stop when we did, get up. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah, see, she won't even really let me pull it out away from the body at all. Can you lift it up, dear? Yeah, she doesn't want me to pull it out away from her body at all. Good girl. Ooh. Good girl. I know. Good girl. See if I can get her adductors a little bit here. Ooh. So kind of doing that compression. Good girl. Ooh. Good girl, I know. I'm trying to help you, sweetheart. So in the grand scheme of things, they're pretty loose. Ooh. But in the front, they're not. They're a little bit tighter. So towards the posterior or the caudal area, they're looser. Going towards her head, cranially, they're tighter. So I'm just doing some circling motion under there to try and help loosen those muscles up. And then some compression. And I'm going to take it nice and slow with her because you don't want to overstretch the muscles and run the risk of hurting her. Good girl. Now she's not quite as touchy as she was either under there. So I'm going to try again, pick it up. I'm going to lift it a little bit higher for her. And some circling motion here. And then I'm going to ask her to stretch it again. And there, she doesn't have as much resistance. Ooh. Ooh, I know there's a fly. You're all right. Go, go, go. Easy. Put a little weight on it so she'll hold it. Good girl, yeah. Good girl. So we got a little bit more range of motion that way already just from massaging and stretching. So I think your biggest challenge now is not focusing so much on the front end, but focusing more on the back end with your stretches and things like that. Let me try stretching her backwards. And this one. Pick up. Good girl. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, she doesn't have any trouble coming backwards. It's all going forward, and she has issues. So her extensor muscles and good girl. Good girl. We'll try the other side. You have this one. You can see how much more flexible she is this way. Like her hip moves out much, much, much more. And in much, much, much more. Ooh, 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 ooh. Hey. Good girl. Ooh, ooh. Good, ooh, ooh. Good girl. Good girl. You know, hold it and stretch. Good girl. So yeah, those circles with that side, you know, I would do both, but that side, you know, try and gently increase that range of motion a little bit, and then see if we can get her stretching a little bit more with that left hind. Let's see how she feels. Apparently she likes the stretch on this side. Feels good. Good girl, Miss Rose. So we're gonna probably spend more time working on her hind quarter now than I would in her front end. So whether it's us or, you know, the other lady you have come up, whatever, I would have her definitely focus her efforts on the hind end, specifically left hind, which you're going to also see manifest itself in her right shoulder because they tend to be opposite pairs. So she'll manifest that same thing in her right front. Not necessarily range of motion issues, but she's going to compensate. So you might see the muscles building more on the right front to compensate for the left hind. All right, let me see this one. Can I have this one? Thank you. Good girl. We're gonna just stretch it straight back. Yeah, and she has very little to no resistance in this leg at all, like she does on the other one. Ooh. Good girl. Let me try this one again, baby. This one, pick up. Like, she doesn't even really want me to lift it up. So, yeah, I know. There. Oh. Oh. There we go. Oh. 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 Hey. I will give it back to you as soon as you put it on the ground. Thank you. Good girl. There you go. Good girl. Oh, and there was our release. Good girl. Does that feel better? Told you I was trying to help you. Good girl. Does that feel pretty good? Oh, and more releases. Good girl. Oh, feels so good, huh? Oh. Good girl. Atta girl. Good job, sister. Good job. Yeah. So I would definitely spend time warming those muscles up with the long strokes. Do a little bit of compression on the adductors, especially in the front. Easy. Watching her because she is not in love with being touched there. But definitely work the adductors on the front. Then lifting the foot up kind of high, circles, clockwise, counterclockwise, and then the stretching forward and stretching back until they're starting to match equally. And you can do that pretty much daily with her if you want to. Just, you know, make sure that when you hit that hard stop, you don't ask her to go any further than that. And then just kind of guide her down to let her put her foot on the ground. So you're going to get it to stretch further if you hold it up off the ground. So you're going to have to probably bring it back a little bit so that she can put it down on the ground, and then let her stand there as long as she wants to, holding the stretch. And hopefully you'll get some good releases like that. But yeah, my guess is it's going to be her hind quarter, specifically on the left side, that's going to be your issue. And just that little bit set her pelvis back in place. So she actually shifted that left hind back where it was supposed to be. And now when I run my hands up off the point of the hips, they come together evenly instead of being separated. So that should help her. Good.